that was one time in like the 80s that somebody they tampered with Tylenol.
Yeah.
One time, and now we all freak out. It happened once.
The whole entire bottle design is for that.
Yeah, for that one time.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened with the chick who licked the fucking ice cream?
Prison.
Yeah.
Like she's really going to prison?
They're trying to charge her because it's tamper. It's actual felony.
Yeah.
It's tampering with goods or something, but
she's a minor.
Well, no, but I think she is. But it racks up so much because they have to test everything. You ruin the company's reputation.
Yeah.
Because they have to make sure they have to figure out which one. So it ends up costing like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They gotta like recall everything and then put seals on them. No.
Yeah.
That's true.
Here's the real question: if you get some ice cream from the store and you get it home, and then you just see one fucking tongue lap in the thing, let's be honest, you're just scraping off the top and finishing it.
Absolutely not.
No, I'm putting that shit back.
I think if you're a chick and you're just ready to sit down and watch your stories and eat some ice cream, then yeah, exactly. I mean, then maybe you overlook it, but no.
In your case, since you walked to Trader Joe's, maybe I just let it slide. Like I'm not walking back.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start the show.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special edition of the Tasteless Gentlemen. We have our good friend KJ here today, whenever you happen to be listening to this. Yeah. As always, we have Dom.
Yay.
He's back.
I'm back, baby.
He's back. Dude, whenever you're not here, it's like, I mean, you've seen the comments. It's like, where's Dom? What the fuck did you guys do? Like, we literally locked you in that closet behind you and aren't letting you be on the fucking show.
Yeah, I flew in at like 9:30 because I had a late flight. I was supposed to be here at 6, but the plane was broken.
You were DJing, right?
Yeah, I was, but I was already
He was cupcaking. Don't let him lie.
I was on the way back, man. Y'all militant, dude. Y'all militant with these set fucking days.
You gotta
man.
Be.
Shit.
Show goes up Monday. That's it.
1 member, 2 member, 3 member. The show's happening Sunday. Well,
because now everybody's getting used to it and they're looking forward to it.
I can't wait till all you guys are on vacation. I'm just sitting here like like Garth. So it's good to be here.
So what do you guys want to talk about? Oh yeah, it's not live. Never mind. So yeah, you got Dom and you got Alex and then KJ and then Scoop and then me and then Ziggy, and I am wearing flip flops. You fucking assholes. So I'm sure you're gonna comment on it. I'm just throwing that out there now, so you can't comment on it and think you fucking got one on me.
That knee.
Here they come. Here come all the comments. They're going to talk about his broken knee. Life sucks.
Yeah, but it does. But it makes it easier when you point out your flaws, so other people can't do it. I mean, they still do it, but it loses some luster.
They'll zoom in and see those corns.
Dick root.
Yeah, I'm about to say. You can't mention the dick root.
Again, having no shame is a blessing.
So this show.
Yep.
Is brought to you by shop.tastelessgentlemen.com.
Yep.
So we got our flag up. This is a design I did a really long time ago. I drew all those myself of you beautiful young gentlemen. I think they're pretty close, right?
My nose, though. I was like,
I mean, it's
like, hey, I am half Jewish, but that makes me look real Jewish.
That looks like Nazi propaganda.
Yeah, man. Hey,
I'm not a professional.
I don't like my forehead on that one, man. That's way too big.
It's way smaller than it is in real life.
I think that looks a lot like Dom. I think that. Look, when you had the fucking long beard, looks a lot like you.
Look how much time he spent on that perfect lineup on himself.
Hell yeah, man. He's got the perfect edge up.
Look at his... Why does it look like you're wearing lipstick, though? You got, like, the puckered up...
Juju lips.
All right, fuck you guys.
That
was a tribute to you fuckers.
No, I love that. I've always liked that design. I thought it was great.
That's the James Harden behind the beard look.
Exactly. So we have tees going up all the time.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of White Claw t-shirts that are going up tomorrow, so... You guys
the White Claw, ever since we started fucking mentioning it and drinking it, gained some fucking serious momentum.
Love it. So anyway, we're here.
Yes, we
I
are.
was on Justin's show, or excuse me, Shoney's show.
Yeah, no one even knows who that is. Oh wait, he has a real name?
I was on Shoney's show with KJ, and KJ told an incredible story.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, you probably know what we're talking about on some level. He told an incredible story about an incident that happened to him, and I asked him to come on our show to tell the same story because it's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do tell.
And so you and Justin know each other from way back in the day.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, Shoney. No, I keep saying Justin.
Nope.
For the record, that is Shoney's real name, Justin.
Yeah, so we had all joined the Navy, I think, around the same time. I was a little bit before, and one of my homies, Nick, who lives here, he's a tattoo artist, was living with me in PB at the time, and he was like, yeah, my homie's shipping back out, or shipping back in to check out of the Navy, done And let's go pick him up. He's cool. You like him? I'm like, all right. So that's when I met Shoney. We picked him up, and then he ended up living at my house for almost a year in PB. Just kind of.
Did he force that on you? Because I feel like he's just like, I'm living
Was he
here.
couching it for a year?
Yeah, for sure.
So this is when he was roughly what, early 20s?
Yeah, definitely early 20s.
Okay,
And
that's funny.
we didn't really give a fuck. I mean, we were just
No, it's PB.
yeah. We were surviving off pizza and beer, and that's it. And just
And Taco Tuesday.
yeah.
$2 you call it some moondoggies on Thursday night.
Yeah,
Best times.
exactly. Little Caesars when we barely had any money.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and then just ended up being homies ever since then. Kind of went our separate paths, but always around San Diego. And then I dipped out for a while to Costa Rica, where I just running surf charters on a boat. And then I met these guys that they operated a company that built and operated zip lines all over the world. And they were like, "You ever come back? Hit us up. We'll give you a job." I was like, well, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
And then
So you're just down there hanging out in Costa Rica.
yeah. Well, I was running surf charters off a boat. I was living on a boat too, a sailboat.
How did you decide to get to head to, not that, I mean, that sounds fucking amazing. I've considered it myself, but what prompted you to say, yeah, I'm over San Diego.
With that shitty knee, you're going to work on a boat?
No, I said I'm going to Costa Rica, you dick. I didn't say I was going to work on a fucking boat. Fuck you. I'm not going to talk anymore. Anyway, so what prompted you to go down there?
So my dad, when he retired, him and his wife bought a sailboat, and they sailed it from San Pedro in LA all the way to Costa Rica. But it fucking killed him. He was like, it was because so much work to sail that long.
Was it a smaller sailboat?
38 feet. So it was, it had 2 staterooms, but it was smaller for.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's work.
How long does that take?
I mean, it took them probably with the amount of stops that they did, I think 2 months.
Holy shit.
From San Pedro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it faster, but like.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They were stopping everywhere.
Yeah.
Just trying to relax a little bit. But
well, breaks up the monotony of being on a sailboat.
Exactly.
For 2 months.
You go through the Panama Canal, you do it all.
Yeah.
And it just was a nightmare for them because you could never sleep, right? And technically, you're never allowed to sleep when you're on a boat. At least one person. That's what you're.
Yeah, you need somebody on watch.
Watch Somalian pirates, cocaine submarines.
Man, these Somali pirates are going far now.
Cocaine submarines.
Yeah, so he was like, "Yeah, we're fucking done with the boat. You and your stepbrother want to make a business out of it? Come on down." We're like, "Okay,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
okay."
That's a great opportunity though, like to do something, especially at that age.
Yeah.
It's like that's the time you need to be going to do stuff like that. Not when you're 40.
Exactly. And it was on the Pacific side of Costa Rica where all the waves were. So, and we were surfers, so we're like, "Okay,
yeah, the life."
Yeah, let's go. Fuck this. I dropped everything and moved down there with snap of a finger and we worked it for about 3 years, but just at that time Costa Rica was blowing up. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't as popular, but now it's huge, and all these catamarans, giant yachts were coming in, just stole all of our business. They had millions of dollars to advertise. We were just fucking word of mouth. So it, business died down, and we tried to grind it out. We just drank our money away anyway. So
wait, so it was a surf camp, or you were doing lessons, or
no? It was a charter, right? So we would go.
Oh, okay. So people would charter the boat, and you guys would take them to surf spots around Costa Rica that were inaccessible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was like Witches Rock.
For sure.
Ollie's Point, and then we'd roll up right behind the wave. You could just paddle out from the back into the back behind the waves. It was sick.
That's sick.
We'd spend a few nights out there, fish, whatever. So it was great, but very inconsistent, and just ran out of money. And at that time, my dad and stuff were like, "You guys gotta get out of here."
Let's get the fuck out.
Get out.
You drunks, get the fuck out of here.
I had to borrow money from my dad like 3 times. He was like, "What the fuck?"
That's the worst feeling in the world. I had to borrow money from my mom once when I was like 21, I think. Yeah. It wasn't even that much money. It was like $800, and I felt like such a piece of shit.
Yeah, and I was like $50,
Yeah,
for sure.
But so it came back, and in the meantime, though, I had done this charter once where these wild Canadians are, really charismatic. They're like, and we're building zip lines all over the world. It's a conservational company. You would be perfect if you ever move back, because we're going to start one in San Diego. They knew I was living there before I moved to Costa Rica, and I was like, all right, well, I'll probably hit you up on that. And then a month later, I was sitting up. And they built the zip line at the Wild Animal Park.
And that's here in San Diego, right?
Yeah, it's up north off the 78.
Yeah. And it's a big zip line. I mean, you fly over legit animals, like, you know, giraffes and all
Yeah,
sorts
doesn't it basically go over like the main area there where all the animals are roaming around?
Yeah.
Kick a giraffe in the head.
Who's the fucking test dummy? This guy, you know, say do the first zip line.
I was one of them.
I was gonna say you were probably one of the.
They're like, send the new guy.
Yeah, fuck it.
Oh no, send KJ. Fuck that.
Like I imagine they start with a dummy though, right? No.
No.
The real live human.
Yeah.
Yeah, different kind of dummy.
It was exhilarating, but I was still scared. I was like, all right, fuck it, let's go. That's the kind of guy I was. I was like, you know, fuck it, we're only gonna live once. And then at the time, I became friends with one of the owners. It was like, and I had a spot in Costa Rica where I thought there would be a perfect zip line. He was like, all right, that sounds good. Let's travel out there soon. But I need you to go to Vegas and manage a set of zip lines out there in a canyon. It was like 15 miles outside the strip in Boulder City. If you know where Henderson is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Boulder City connects to it, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, they gave me a house and everything, so I was like, okay.
So you're out there for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
In Vegas. So
And you have
dangerous.
a house.
Yeah.
You have a house. So and a job.
Yeah.
So dangerous.
So the company is based in Canada, but they have zip lines. Like that's their thing. They go into areas and say, "Oh, this is a good spot for a zip line," and they, you know, build it from the ground up.
And some of the biggest zip lines in the world, like Haiti, Hawaii, all sorts of zip lines.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
And I mean, everything was falling on my lap. They're like, yeah, it's a nice house.
I was gonna say this is a pretty nice sequence of events so far.
Yeah.
yeah, just some guys you met drunk, you know,
Yeah.
like just surfing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, it's at some point where you ever skeptical when you were like, wait, I'm going to stay in this house.
No, I was just like, yeah, okay.
Bring it on. Yeah, fuck it. At that
Yeah.
age.
I mean,
Sure.
I think my family and friends were like, what the fuck? And I was like, no, trust me, it's going to be cool. And it was a nice house and everything, but man, Vegas was crazy because we were still living the lifestyle, right?
Of course.
We'd work, we'd go out, play poker, go to strip clubs. That was it, every night. And then this leads up to the wild story. I'd done one of the last tours of the day. This group of girls on their bachelorette party, like, you know, again, it was like perfect.
Ladies, hey,
Yeah, and they were like, you know, we were vibing with them. They're like, so we got this suite at the Mandalay Bay. You got to come. Like, it's gonna be so fun. I'm like, okay, you know, perfect.
yeah,
This
sure.
shit only happens in other people's stories.
It really does seem like a movie, but
That's outstanding.
we get back to. I was living with one of the owners was staying there, right, and he was living with me at the time, and I was like, man, I'm thinking about going out, and he was, you want to roll with me? He was like, well, yeah, let me look at the schedule, see what time you got the tour tomorrow. And I was like, okay. I had the first tour in the morning. I was kind of tired. I worked all day, so I was like, fuck it. You get tired in Vegas because you're out in the desert.
Yeah, hot as shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I stayed in, which changed the course of anything or everything. And that next first tour I had in the morning, and just for reference, I mean, there was 4 zip lines in a canyon. Almost took like a half day, right? Because you would hike to each one, take a caravan way up there. And it was great. You could see everything. Hoover Dam on one side, the strip over here.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful, right?
Fuck yeah.
And the second zip line, which was the biggest in the canyon, was almost 2 miles long. So they were big zip lines, right?
That's ridiculous.
Wait, just like zip line for 2 miles? That's legit.
I mean, when you think about that, is that one of the longest in the world?
Yeah.
How
That's
long
legit.
does that take?
Oh man, sometimes it felt like you were on there for a couple minutes, but I mean you were boning out.
I was
right?
gonna say that. What
Yeah.
speed are you traveling at?
I mean, you up to 80.
Fuck.
That
really?
sounds like a lot
Hell
of fun.
yeah.
I had no idea. Like my knowledge of zip lines is apparently nothing because I just picture like the girls in Costa Rica, like and they fucking
Well,
go
yeah.
across
And
the.
that's when you're using your hand as a
Yeah,
brake,
yeah,
right? You use your hand here. And
So is this one of the zip lines where you're laying flat?
No.
You're not.
But it was like a legit setup. Like you had a full-on harness.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of them you have a harness, but you come down to it was connected to a trolley, which had these wheels and covered by a
Sure.
case, right? So
Sure.
there'd be 2 guys giving a tour, right? So one guy would fly down first, the other one would stay up there with a guest. He'd send them down to whoever flew down first, so he could get the guest off the zip line, right?
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So on that second one, I flew down first, and it was a negative line. Now what that means was the structure of the canyon. You picture it starting way up here, and then went like this, and then at the end it came back up like that.
To slow you down, is that how it was designed, or?
I think so, but then again, I mean, you would, if the wind was pushing up, you get stuck in that area, and then we'd have to come in and pull you back in. right? So we'd call it like a lap dance because we just
It's like it's like cliffhanger.
yeah.
So you
Exactly like that.
you manually have to bring them back if the conditions aren't ideal.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you that day, I don't remember, but I guess I was boning out, and you come into the window was pushing down, and then at the end of the zip line there was a set of brakes that didn't do shit to really slow you down just a little bit, then a giant spring at the end, right? So the only way you're going to get yourself off the zip line by yourself is to wrap your feet around the zip line, because then you're going to stop moving, right? You release slack off the harness and then drop to the platform. Now on that one, at the spring, this is what I would normally do. The spring, giant spring, you bounce off it, but you get the momentum to wrap your feet around because your body.
Yeah, you kind of swing your legs up.
Yeah. And that's what I went to do. Now.
And you've done that. You at this point, you've done this how many times?
Thousands of times.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I was on autopilot, so
yeah,
you're
for
not
sure.
even fucking thinking anymore. And instead of my feet, really wrapping around an angle like this, it was like the perfect storm, right? So, you can press the spring and it stops for just a split second.
Like, before it recoils
right,
like
and then
crazy.
Boom, recoils. Yeah. And so right when it stopped is right when I wrapped my feet around, right? But instead of wrapping it around at an angle, like around the zip line, they wrapped around the top edge of the trolley. Now the trolley had the wheels in it and stuck out about that far above my head. It was an aluminum case, right? The zip line was steel cable. Kind of hard to decipher the difference when things are happening so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of, like my feet went too high, they wrapped around the top edge of the trolley. But I thought I made the contact with the zip line, and when the spring had just stopped, so I was like, oh, okay.
You're good, yeah.
Boom, unhooked, and then
you unhooked.
Right, and just without even a blink in your eye, it's all boom, the spring recoiled, and that at that point I was unhooked, but I was hanging on like if I were to do a pull up, right? And I don't know, things are happening so fast, and I don't remember this, so I should have just been like, oh fuck, and then drop 10 feet, right? Had some scrapes and bruises, but
maybe break a leg or something.
Yeah. But I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm probably so shell shocked and adrenaline to the roof, so I'm just hanging on for dear life, and I would never roll back in because of the negative. So I'm just rolling out, hanging on if I were to do a pull up. And my friend, one of my best friends that I was living with, those sticks I use to clean pools. They extend
with the little with the little hook.
We had
on
those out there in case a guest would roll back and they can grab it and they pull it back in. And he flung it out because he was on the tour before, and I guess my feet just barely graced it. And from there I was rolling out, and he was getting back on the zip line. And you're out in the desert, so you're sweating balls, right? And I'm hanging on to a piece of metal, and I had no idea. These are things I don't remember, and I'm just rolling out. And the trippiest thing to this day that I did though before I dropped, because he was like, man, it was kind of strange because you looked at me and it was like you laughed. You're like,
like fuck.
Yeah, but the fact that putting that through my head, like to be looking down and like I don't know if I was looking down. Who the fuck knows? Yeah. And
at how far up do they think you were?
80 feet.
80 feet.
Yeah.
To rocks.
Just to a sandy canyon, right?
Yeah. Just for reference, like how many stories is that?
8 stories.
8 stories.
Oh my god.
So, but then there was a lot of talk about you dropped for sure there on purpose, because if you would have rolled out any further, that's when there was like boulders and jaggedy rocks. So, I fell on pavement, I would have never survived, or asphalt, but this was the sand kind of blew my fall, and then I hit it, and then I rolled down the canyon. That's when a lot of other damage happened, but 80 feet, right? And as soon as I hit the ground, boom, I was instantly unconscious.
Yeah, and I'm sure your body crunched.
So you're looking at your buddy, you laugh, and then you fall.
Yeah. It's really weird because I don't remember anything, and I mean the last thing I did before I fell was laugh. It's interesting because to put myself in those shoes and to think I would do that, I'd be like, fuck no, I would never laugh.
Right.
And it was gonna fall. Lord knows how far, but 80 feet, let alone. I mean, most people don't survive 30 feet falls. So
yeah,
for sure.
And then I rolled down the canyon, and my friend that I told you about that flung out the pool stick ran down to me, and he was definitely saving my life because my mouth was full of sand. I hit the ground, you go unconscious, your mouth goes wide open.
And how far does he have to run to even get to you?
A long way.
Yeah, I figure, right?
Yeah, and we were once, I remember this, we were once doing this interview on, there's been a few TV shows about my injury, 3 or 4, and this lady, well known, I forgot her name, but she was really drilling my family and him, and everyone's crying, and she was like, did you instantly call the cops? And he was like, or call the paramedics, please, or not police, paramedics, and he was like, no, man, that was way over my head. I just bolted down there, because again, adrenaline takes over, and there's nothing. You don't think about anything.
Yeah.
And how many years ago was this?
Over 10 years ago.
Okay, so even then, like, cell phone reception was probably shitty.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So it was 2009, and he ran down to me and just I wasn't breathing, so he was like I was yelling. Face was covered in blood. I couldn't see anything, and first thing, we knew how to do a lot of CPR because of our job. We were taking care of people, and he was just, my mouth was full and just started digging out the airway. And he felt like he was doing that for hours. It wasn't hours, but it was just, when you're stuck in that kind of zone. And eventually got the send out CPR, and then finally he was just blew out this air, and he was like, at least a sign of life, right?
Yeah.
But apparently, and then he would go back because I'd dip back out and he'd do CPR again. I'd get a little air out.
So he's literally bringing you back.
Yeah.
Right there on the spot.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and it was wild. I was just at his house yesterday because, like I said, I was in LA, and I mean, he's still baffled, but yeah, to see where I'm at now, he's like never in his fucking wildest
Yeah,
dreams.
if he had to fly, from seeing you on the ground to, fast forward 10 years. Like,
and then recovery, even 2 years in the recovery, I mean, I'm still a fucking nightmare.
So now, how do they get you out of there?
Helicopter.
So the helicopter comes in, and they just take you up from in place.
Yeah, I can, from what I understand, it was a big effort, like, because they couldn't land very close to me because it was such an incline. They had to land over here, and then it was like a group effort. There was people on the tour that were actually EMTs, right?
Oh wow, that's lucky.
Yeah, no shit.
Fuck.
So it was wild, and they were able to kind of help transfer me over the helicopter. And by the time they got me in the helicopter, I was flatlined again. So they got me back, and then from there, I was in the hospital. Was in a coma for 3 months. And
fuck. So okay, wait, before the coma part. So now that you're in what's the extent of your injuries?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really know anything because obviously I'm still unconscious. But in that small phase, I mean, my legs, when they took off my shoe, there was bones in my shoe, right?
Oof. Like just bones from your feet that had basically fallen out of you.
Yeah. Wow. And at that
somebody
point,
knocked your teeth out, basically.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And at that point, there's like they have to amputate or you get gangrene, right? Circulation's cut off, so and you'll die fast from gangrene. So, boom, they took off that one, and the other one. They had asked my parents about my right leg, and they're like, "Well, fuck." They had told them that I had a 1 in 1,000 chance of living. They just had to be honest. And
and they probably give you a better outlook than what it really is.
Yeah,
because they don't want you to feel like that.
Yeah, and they're like, we should probably amputate this, and we want to give the final decision. Either like, well, if he makes it out of this coma and survives, and he has a chance to make that decision, why don't we let him do that? Okay. And so that period, I have a giant scar that goes all the way up my abdomen, right below my chest. So the amount of internal bleeding was just massive. So just damage repair, they had to save my life. And also just a gnarly traumatic brain injury, and they were worried about that. They were like, "Yeah, he makes it out, he'll probably be a fucking vegetable."
Yeah, it's like if this equals success, who's to say that you can't succumb to something else
that's a great point.
Is damaged, like, oh well, we got his legs together now, but he's internally bleeding. Oh, but his liver is bruised beyond the point of recognition.
Or pneumonia for fuck's
anything
sake.
Or an infection.
Or he's alive but he's Terry Schiavo.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Did they I was wondering about, you said they basically amputated your left leg.
Yeah.
Was it like that night in the hospital?
Oh yeah.
So basically your leg didn't even resemble what a leg would normally look like.
No, and like I said, when they removed the shoe, there was bones in the shoe.
So basically everything from what, like including your knee or from
below the knee.
So everything down here basically disintegrated.
Yeah. I mean, which is a blessing that it wasn't higher, right?
Because that's a real, femur, but even having below the knee is like way, way, way better, right? Like in terms of functionality and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think like my knee bone's kind of like essentially like an ankle joint for me.
Yeah.
As much as one as you can have.
Sure.
So yeah.
So at this point, you're in a coma for 3 months.
Yeah, and you remember last time we were talking, it was interesting. So they had my insurance workers' comp had put my parents in a hotel like the Palace, which is kind of a dirty hotel.
It's not very high end for Vegas. Yeah, it's on the lower end of Vegas hotels.
I mean, you could get worse, but I mean,
for sure,
it's pretty bad. And so they were eating, I think, my dad, they were divorced, but, they came together. They were all, I was a pretty decent relationship anyways. And my mom, looked distressed, obviously. And this lady walked up to her, and she was kind of like the typical, like, spiritual,
Yeah.
She had like the
she smells like patchouli. She's a hippie chick.
No, frankincense.
Yeah.
And she had the wavy clothes, and she walks up, and the interesting makeup, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, grabs her like, "Hello, dear." She's like, "I can tell something's on your mind." And my mom broke down, So she sat down, and she's like, "Well, I know what's going on, but I don't exactly know the story behind it." And my mom told her. And she's like, "Okay, well, my name is Mystic Mona, right?"
Who is that Jamaican chick on the
Miss Cleo?
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo, yeah. So Mystic Mona,
She's
wow.
like, that'll be $50.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
That also doubled as your stripper name too.
No, and she was actually a psychic in Vegas, like a legit psychic to the stars, I guess. Who knows? But
Sure.
she was like, "Well, there's one thing that you need to do." And my mom's like, "Well, I'll do anything." She's like, "You need to get him A Wrinkle in Time, the book, right, the children's book, and read it to him." And she's like, "Well, he's in a coma." She's like, "It doesn't matter. You got to read it to him. Trust me." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, at this point, anybody will try anything
Oh,
for
fuck yeah.
for your loved one. Like, dude, whatever.
Yeah. And she goes out, finds a book, and they were in. My dad and her were in the room one night. And she starts reading it, and again, no signs of life out of me. And she's reading the book, and my dad makes a comment. He's like, "Why don't we get him an adult book, Margaret?" That's my mom's name. She's like, it makes more sense. And she's like, "You know what, Kevin?" And I'm still out cold. If you think your dad's full of shit, flip him off. And lo and behold, all of a sudden my hand,
No fucking way.
In the cove, like, holy shit.
my hand's shaking like this, like, and then boop, the finger pops.
Fuck off, Dad.
And is that the
Wow.
first time you've shown something?
Yeah.
At that,
And they start screaming, right? And then the nurses run in. They're like, "He's alive!" And they're like, "Oh my god!" And then, my eyes were still closed and everything. But that's when shit turned the corner, right? And Shoney, we were talking to Shoney. He didn't believe me. And she was like, and my mom knows Shoney well. She was like, "Tell him to call me."
That's funny.
Justin.
I mean,
yeah.
nothing can wake up a white guy like telling his father to fuck off.
Kyle.
So were you like on a breathing machine and everything, like, or were you breathing on your own?
I don't know exactly, man.
Okay.
I to be honest, I know I had a tube though, because I have a scar from the tube over here.
Like
somewhere.
a feeding tube?
No, well, a feeding tube, yeah,
Yeah.
but a ventilation tube.
Okay.
And at that time, I'm sure I had everything. But yeah, that's when started to turn the corner, and I was awake again. I don't remember ever being awake in Vegas, so, and I was transferred, down to San Diego, Encinitas.
Right.
My mom lives in Cardiff, so they took me to the Scripps over there, and
So this is like, what, 5 months after or something like that?
I think 7 months.
7 months. And you don't remember
No,
not a moment of 7 months?
no, never.
Holy shit, that's a long time.
So what's that like when you come to and they gotta fucking explain to you
No,
everything?
yeah, I'll tell you about that. So, I was back in Encinitas in the Scripps Hospital there, and I woke up one night, and I was super, super fuzzy, and it was like waking up from a dream, but I figured it out. I was like, oh fuck, you wake up and you're like, where the fuck am I? Right? That's just what through my head. I was like, but I didn't freak out. I was like, okay, I knew for sure I was in a dream. So I was like, wait, am I in a dream? And then I was doing all the weird things like you would do, like picture
sure you're
myself,
not,
and I was
yeah.
like, oh fuck, nothing was happening, And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm looking around, and then I see tubes connected, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then it was like a legit nightmare though, because I could hear my heart beating on the EKG, and I look over, and it's like starts going faster. It's all do.
Yeah.
like-
Because you're freaking out.
Yeah,
of course.
I
And
ripped it out. I
and
was
then you got the nurses and orderlies running in.
nobody was in yet. And I had my own private room because I was such a serious case, and I rip out the thing. It's right, and then there was a feeding tube, and I felt really uncomfortable. I ripped that out, and shit's
Oh,
flying everywhere.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I'm looking around like, oh fuck. So
This is just baby food flying.
Wait, so was this like a conscious thing, or you just you knew something was bothering you and you were uncomfortable and you were just trying to get rid of it?
and I can't really explain it because I knew what was I thought I knew what was going on. I was super comatose.
So you weren't consciously going, "Oh, I'm going to remove my feeding tube," and
yeah,
you fucking.
I was just. I mean, and I was pretty sick then. Still, you know. Again, I had an early brain injury, so I was like, "Well, fuck this," you know.
Yeah, like, get this stuff off of me.
Yeah.
I've always wondered when you see people wake up in the movies or in TV shows and they start ripping shit out, if that's like a real thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I was uncomfortable. I was freaked out. So I'm
it actually makes sense.
making irrational decisions at that point, right?
No.
And I'm like, well, my first instinct was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. So I pull up the sheet, right, and I go to move my leg, and I'm like, oh fuck, it was all bandaged up, and I like go to look for my foot, and I was like, there's no foot, right? So I'm like, and then I start moving it, and it just the legs going up, so I'm like, oh god. And then that's when the nurses came in. They're like, oh no, Kevin, it's okay. What are you doing? I was like, you know, I'd set off alarms and everything. And
yeah.
Now, when you like reach to your foot, where were you reaching to where it would be? Like,
yeah.
So like you, even now, like, would you reach to where it would be? Like, do you feel like that exact same spot?
Yeah. I mean, to an extent, I think. I mean,
There's a name for that, and I don't remember.
Phantom pain, yeah?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, phantom pain is the feeling more. So I'm talking about like if you like in your head you still acknowledge like spatially where your foot would be.
I think, yeah, that was probably way over my head at the time, but I just remember, you know, trying to move my foot, and nothing was happening. Then I go down to like, you know, you want to feel it, right?
Yeah. What's going on here? Yeah.
And I was just, my heart was like, who knows where, like 1,000 times a minute. And then the nurses come in, they're like, no, just go back to bed and you're okay. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, back to bed. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Do they just like sedate you immediately? Like,
yeah, I was like, no, I'm not going back to sleep. And they're like, no, it's okay. We'll give you something.
Oh, don't worry. You'll go back to sleep.
Count backwards from 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, just started to come back to life, right? And
Right.
my friends, you know, showing other people like, you fell off a zipline. And I didn't believe it for a long time. This is weird. Like I was stuck in this forever nightmare.
A couple weeks, a month, or?
To be honest, it felt like maybe 3 or 4 months, right?
Were you just like kind of in denial about like,
but
holy shit.
I was still going through surgeries at the time, right? So I was in and out, like, and I was sleeping a lot. So
What were they working on specifically? Do you remember, or just everything?
everything. And I remember one night I kind of felt like, again, I woke up and I look over, my mom's just sitting over there, and I was like, we started talking a little bit. She's like, yeah, it's okay. And then I was looking at her, and I was like, fuck, I can only see her out of my left eye. This is weird, right? So I started rubbing my right eye, kind of doing this, all sorts of weird shit. And I look over at her again. This time she's shaking her head like this. She's like, oh no, okay, we need to talk. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on with my right eye? Is there a patch over it? She's like, no. And she's like, that eye, you broke your bone. It's called the orbital bone.
Yeah.
Instead of breaking outwards, which is kind of designed to break outwards to protect the eye, it broke in.
Ooh.
And it cut the ocular nerve in half.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So that the right eye is indefinitely 100% blind. Like,
Yeah.
without even, there's not a speck of light that'll ever be able to see unless they are able to.
And this, you didn't even figure this out for like a while after. That's how out of it you are.
Oh yeah, I was super out of it.
Holy, because I mean, if that happened right this second, you know, you would know.
Yeah,
like,
You'd
what
be
the
conscious
fuck
of
is
what's
going
going
on here?
on.
You know.
So
Yeah.
you have no sight in your right eye?
No, zero. And you know, the eye still tracks, which is cool because if you're born blind in the eye, like the brain doesn't associate it with anything.
Sure. Doesn't know. Yeah.
Don't need to do anything with that eye. It's useless. But with me, the brain still has a train to move around, so it's still able to track pretty good.
so people aren't just like staring at your eye all the time when they're talking to you.
Yeah, that would be tough. And they also can do a surgery to tighten the muscles so it can move around if that was ever the case. So, and everything with me falls under workers' comp. So
Yeah, of course.
relates to the injury, they'll fix it, which is nice. Yeah, but so yeah, in and out of surgery at the time, and I started to kind of turn a corner again because I was like, well, but like I told you last time, I was in a wheelchair and they're rolling down the hospital, and this girl in her scrubs, like a nurse, smiles at me and she's like, "Hey, you," and I was like,
Hey. We're in
Still
the game.
Wait. Are we fucking?
We're in
Still
the game, boys.
it was like, you know when a girl says, "Hey, you,"
Oh yeah.
it means more than just "Hey."
Yeah. She wasn't just going, hey,
Yeah,
good
she's
afternoon.
And she looked at me like I could see sparkles in her eyes.
Yeah.
And I lit up, right? Like I was like, oh, that really changed. I swear to God, that changed the course of everything. And later that day when I was back in my room, she comes in and she was my nurse. I I didn't put it get.
Okay, so she was saying "Hey you" because she'd been with you for months on
Damn,
end.
friend zoned again.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
like that. But then I just things were starting to make more sense, and they had made her my full-time nurse, right? Because I apparently responded the best to her. You know, I wasn't listening very well at the time, but everything she did and said, I listened to. So, and then I just fall in love with her, right? So I'm like, and she's this beautiful girl, and I ended up getting her number from my friend because they were running together, right? The guy that saved my life, he was living with my mom at the time, you know, just for support. And they became friends and were running, and I was like, yeah, you know, she said it's cool. You know, just
That's a good friend. Wait, so he moved in with your mom
Yeah.
just to like make sure she was okay?
yeah.
That's a fucking
That's
loyal
dope.
friend, dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was incredible, and I somehow talked him into. I could bullshit anybody and talked him into giving me her number, and because she would get off, you know, nighttime, and I called her one night, and she's like, "Hey, how'd you get my number?" And I was like, "Well, I told her the truth." And that night, though, this is maybe 4 months into knowing her already, I told her I loved her over the phone.
Going strong. One, hey you.
Hey, shoot your shot. You know, fuck.
And I got that typical response, "Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow."
Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh, my boyfriend would really like to meet you.
But no, it actually, you know, and being in love like that, I really was. I was in a fucked up state, but my body started to heal better, right?
Oh, of course.
I wasn't fighting
makes
like
sense.
the stress of, you know, all the surgeries and all the other trauma. I was just, my body was like happy, like at the cellular level, everything was like, well, yeah, he's happy.
Yeah.
So let's just go in accordance with what we need to do.
I swear that's like a life lesson though, for real. Like, be happy.
Yeah, be fucking happy.
Yeah, because
Well,
you're gonna heal.
And it's the power of the mind, right? So it was like,
Yeah.
at that point, my family was still shitting bricks, and they're like, oh, we just don't know. And I was like, trust me, I'm going to be fine. Just chill out. I swear to God. Things are going to be better than ever. And they're like, okay. You know, because I'm still pretty out of it.
Yeah, they're like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, he's always been optimistic. But, you know, lo and behold, I started to get better. And at the time, I was bad on the right leg, and because the right leg was still there. And I got an infection in the bone, which made things worse.
Oh, I forgot your right leg was still there
Yeah.
at this point.
And my doctor, who was a neurologist, he was my primary physician, was like, you know, I found this group in Colorado that, you know, they're big for limb salvage. They really specialized surgery that could, you know, the best in the world. And boom, I get approved for that through insurance. And my insurance was cool enough because I was really connecting with the nurse at this point, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I would fuck with her all the time. I'd be like, still in the wheelchair, I'd be like, what's over there? And she'd look, and then I, you know, go kiss her on the cheek. And stuff like that.
Nice.
I'd be like, you know, remember the hand move?
Yeah. He's got the hand move.
Yeah, like her hand would be out here. I'd go grab her pinky and like,
That's a good maneuver, dude.
yeah, it's corny as fuck, but it really worked.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And you know, funny thing, I was still a patient, but she ended up. I'd tell her I love her every night. And one night she was like, "I love you too," and I was like,
Ooh, we're in the game.
Don't play with me.
"Yeah." So then I got approved for the surgery in Colorado, and I was like, I don't want to go without her.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're still in the hospital,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're, okay. I didn't know if you were there or if
Yeah,
you'd
I
gone
mean,
home.
ultimately, we're all in the hospital for 2 years. So-
Fuck.
So I flew out to Colorado, and they flew her out with me. That's how legit my insurance was being.
Wow.
And I mean, it was unbelievable. It's, you know, without her, who knows where I'd be. And then we did the surgery on it, supposedly went really well, but it just made the infection tenfold worse, right?
Do you know what surgery they were doing at the time? What they were specifically after?
Not necessarily, but I just know that the heel bone and the calcaneus, which is heel bone, was broken really bad.
Okay.
He was reconnecting bones because both the tib and the fib were fully disconnected at this point. So that I don't know exactly what they did, but it was.
Do you know to this day, how you landed? Like, have doctors?
Yeah. The one of the main surgeons that I had in Vegas was like, I went back to speak one year at a luncheon, and he was like, you couldn't have landed any better, not even humanly, any other way you would be dead, right?
Wow.
So, let's see, if I was coming back out, so I'm rolling back out backwards, right? Because I'm facing, and the hill was going down like this.
Right.
So if I'm facing that way, and I landed at an angle like that on both of my
So
heel-
on your heels.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, okay.
Your heels hit first.
Yeah. And the heels are, one of the thicker bones in the
Yeah,
body,
for
right?
sure.
They're like an egg, and when they break, they crack like an egg. So they take all the absorption, they go,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, they're designed to do that. And then onto my sacrum and pelvis, my ass bone. And those were just demolished, and then I rolled down. But, you could have never landed better.
That makes sense, given how far you were falling.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Fuck. And that's just luck too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Dumb luck.
Complete luck.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, angels, whatever. But
Okay, so
It was Miss Cleo. That's what it was.
Miss Cleo. So
That'll be $500.
so you're coming out of the surgery for your this was your right leg, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And they were like, "Oh, it was a good surgery," and I was like, "Okay." I felt fine, but then I got really sick, and all of a sudden, 2 nights, maybe the night after the surgery, my temperature, but I had 104 temperature. Right, it was just a gnarly infection. And
Not good.
Right,
No.
you know, boom, they go into conferences about everything and take me to an ID doctor, an infectious disease doctor. They do all this testing, and apparently the infection's spreading like wildfire. And they're like, so, we're going to put you on this antibiotic, a PICC line, where they attach a port out of your forearm and they run a line all the way right over by
To
your
your heart?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to protect the heart.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
it's a gnarly, and then
So this thing goes into your vein and then all the way to your heart
yeah,
and just pumping antibiotics.
yeah, it is fucking gnarly. And it was one of the gnarliest
crazy.
antibiotics called vancomycin, right? And I was like, just remember feeling like a zombie. In the meantime, they took me back into surgery and put an external fixator on the leg. You know what that is?
No.
It's hard to explain. If you look it up online, it's like a bat cage around your leg. So there was 33 pins, and they go directly into your bones,
Mhm.
like directly into your bones. And your foot doesn't touch the actual plate but you're designed to walk in it. So when you walk, the pins are compressing, and it's forcing the bones that are broken to kind of essentially mold back together.
Holy shit.
Wait, is this that? I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure. It's like a cage that
Yeah,
goes,
yeah.
and you see the
Exactly.
bolts that go through.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I have
yeah.
seen that.
Yeah,
That's a fucking gnarly device.
it's gnarly.
How'd
Yeah.
they keep that from not getting infected?
Yeah, and that was one of the
You
biggest
get
pains.
33 holes in your
Yeah,
fucking
just
leg. dude.
open.
Yeah, it
shit.
was. They give me like pages of how to disinfect it every night. You do it most of the time, but not all the time.
I was gonna say, as if you don't already have enough shit that you're
Yeah.
tending to.
Yeah, I wish they had, just go stick it in the shower water. For
Yeah.
a while. Fuck it. But yeah, it was a nightmare. And then I flew back to San Diego, and I was in the hospital again, and it was really strange. I woke up one morning, and at the time, let me backtrack a little bit. We had this conference. It was me, my dad, my mom was back in San Diego. We were in Colorado, and the surgeon that was doing all my surgeries, one of the best in the world, he's like, yeah, even if Kevin gets to save the leg, he's never going to be able to be active like he was before, right? And one thing that didn't stick with me is every time you relax, you're going to have to elevate it. It's just going to be a burden.
Yeah, because it's always
Mhm.
swollen,
Right.
basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, whatever. So I flew back, still getting all this antibiotic treatment, and then I was like, yeah, I thought about amputating. I was like, well, how am I going to get out of bed? Do all these things without no legs. One leg is hard enough, right? And the next morning I woke up and I looked down. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Without even a string of doubt, the first person I called was a surgeon in Colorado. I'm like, all right, let's amputate. He's like, all right, I'll put you on the schedule.
So you just woke up and had no shadow of
Yeah.
a doubt that that's what you needed to
Yeah,
do.
and it's funny because I was excited. I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
Like this is a legit new chapter. I
Like
was
this was the last thing that was like your anchor that was still keeping you, from doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah, and I was like, I was excited. I was like, the things I'm going to be able to do now. Like,
Yeah.
this is when my ego kicked in, right? I'm like, like I'm going to be this fucking superstar athlete.
That's got to help you.
Oscar
heal, too.
Pistorius. Fucking hell.
Yeah, and that didn't work out in my favor, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
He's really dragging all you guys down at this point.
Gives all you guys a bad fucking name.
Yeah. There was a while when people looked at me and they were like, they give you that. They'd be excited, like, "Oh wow, good for you," and then they'd have that weird. Like,
Yeah.
Shady.
we're not.
Is that the Blade Runner?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So you call your doctor and you say, schedule the surgery.
Yeah, and he's like, "All right, we'll put you on the books." And then I called my parents, my girlfriend. I was like, "Let's meet up for dinner tonight." I didn't tell me anything. I just want to.
Is the girlfriend the nurse?
Oh yeah.
So at this time, you guys are full.
You're official.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Wait. But have you fucked yet?
I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, this is another crazy part of the story. But so we meet up for dinner, and I tell everyone that look, I'm flying out to Colorado this date, and I just have to do it. And my mom was crying, but it was not the saddest tears, but just kind of tears.
I mean, this has got to be hard on your mom, dude.
Yeah,
And watching her boy go through that's got to be tough.
Yeah, ultimately I felt much worse for her than myself, right? Because the whole time I was just very overly optimistic. I don't know.
I was gonna say, you don't strike me as the type that feels sorry for himself.
No, I didn't, and there's a lot of factors, between that, just being happy, go lucky,
Sure.
and then your ego. I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna do crazy stuff with this, and so I flew to Colorado with the nurse, and
In the PJ private jet.
yeah. Well, I wish it was private, but if I were backtrack a little bit, so back to what you said, so this is a little more serious, right? I said the same thing to Shona the other day. So, and this was the toughest moment, bar fucking none, out of the whole injury that I experienced, right? So I'm at her house, and we're getting hot and heavy, things are escalating, right? And we're in bed, right? And I'm like, this is great. Like, I had thoughts going through my mind. I was like, fuck, I didn't blown a load in almost a year now.
This is a legitimate question. Did you know if everything would function normally?
Let me get to that.
Okay.
Right? So, and she's doing all the things, like, grinding and going down. And I didn't feel a whole lot down there. So I looked down. It's like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And I was like, it was limp as fuck, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
But my brain was somewhere else. I was like super turned on.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, hold on. I was like, she's like, no, it might be part of your injury. She was very supportive, right? Exactly what I
I mean, if your first time after what you endured is going to be with someone, it fucking should be a nurse.
Right.
I mean, shit, dude.
There are some girls out there who'd be like, "What the fuck?"
That should be a service nurses give
Yeah.
out.
That should be.
Exactly. Okay, so she's being supportive, not
Good idea.
not judgmental.
Right. She's like, yeah, it'll get better. And if you ever need something, I mean, that's what Viagra's for. I'm like,
Yeah, for sure.
okay. So I leave there and I go to my mom's house, and I'm sitting on the stairs, and I just break down, right? I start crying. I'm like, it was so tough that I didn't know what to think, right? I was like, fucking 25, 26 at the time. So I'm like, life's over if I can't.
Especially when your brain is there, but the body won't respond.
When the brain wants and the body's not willing, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very disempowering thing, right? Everything was taken. My manhood was being taken.
So
away
you
from
were essentially riding high mentally,
Yeah.
and then this basically was, I guess, a pseudo reality check for
me.
you.
Yeah, exactly. It was the lowest point for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's amazing that this is the first time you've doubted yourself was when your dick didn't work.
Yeah, and I.
It says a lot about being a man, though, right? Fuck.
So I start calling my doctor. I was like, yeah. He's like, no, that's normal. Like, you had such a bad sacral injury. That's where all the nerves connect down there, right? And I was,
Makes sense.
I was just fucking crushed.
There was no damage to that, though. That whole unit was fine.
Yeah.
Nothing specific.
No.
But you destroyed your pelvis, right?
Right.
Okay.
And that's where all the nerves are.
Yeah, for sure.
And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, well, can I get some Viagra? He's like, well.
The only answer you should give me right now is
Yeah.
fuck yes.
He's like, meds!
Doc,
Yeah.
I need this.
And he was like, yeah, probably not right now. Not the best time because your body's going through so much and you just scheduled a fucking
So in other words, he's saying you shouldn't be fucking right now.
yeah, and you're going to get your leg amputated. So let's not.
But also, would that technically work? Because if you're dealing with nerve issues as opposed to like blood flow issues and things like that, would
Yeah, it might
Viagra
not.
still-
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. And I flew to Colorado and I had a different doctor there, and I tried to talk him into
Yeah,
it.
of course.
And he was like, yeah, no, I'm probably not right now, because
First things first. Let's take care of you being alive.
It's
Yeah.
like that Florida opioid like highway. You're just going to every doctor like, Viagra? Come on.
But again, I also had a gnarly infection, right? So boom.
Oh, that's right. So you're still
Yeah.
fighting this infection.
Yeah.
So you're still on this massive course of antibiotics as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So nothing was really acting like it should have been. And I go to get the surgery, and it was just a legit amputation. I wake up at the surgery feeling like $1 million. Normally you feel just super dazed, right? Because of all the anesthesia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I woke up like I was buzzed, right? Like the perfect buzz. I was like, hey, And I was ready to eat a steak, right? Because you had to fast for so long before surgery. My mom walks up. She's like, everything's good. I was like, yeah, let's go eat. And girlfriend was there. So we go out to eat that night. And everything was feeling better because the infection was out of my body. that was really the only way to fully get it out of my body, to amputate the leg.
So the infection was all in your leg then?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that was the only 100% guarantee that the infection would be gone. Was like, that's why I felt so much better. And that's when, within about 3 weeks, I walked out of the hospital, and with a new prosthetic leg.
Yeah.
So it's like the first time we're having brand new both prosthetic legs.
Yeah.
And were they shitty
Oh,
prosthetics?
fuck yeah.
Oh, you don't get those?
No.
Was it originally like the ones from the what was that movie with the one-armed man? Like like those ones?
Yeah, well, something like that. But I mean, I didn't know any better, so I was stoked. I was like, I'm walking.
I mean, you're alive at this point.
Yeah.
You got to be happy.
Yeah. And I walk out of there and just.
I mean, you had an infection that was so bad, the only way they could get rid of it was to cut off your fucking limb. Who can say that? No, I got an infection. Yeah, here, take 10 pills. Take a Z-Pack for 3 days and you're good. Oh, no, we're going to have to cut your fucking leg off. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When it's in the bone, it's so deeply rooted.
That's mind-boggling.
Blood infections, you can normally get pretty fast, but bone infections, I mean, it's.
Is that where it was? It was in the bone?
Inside of the bone. And then when it spreads, it kind of like the roots of a tree just kind of creaks up.
That's fucking crazy.
Slowly but surely. So, and eventually it'll spread throughout all your skeletal system.
Yeah.
And you'll just fucking die from that. So
they send you home with shitty prosthetics.
Yeah. And I was, back in rehab, the hospital and everything. And for, and ultimately 2 years, like I said. And from there, I had a really good prosthetist. His wife was actually my occupational therapist in rehab, and she was like, "You got to meet my husband. They were surfers too, and he's one of my better friends now. We're still like this, and he took me up snowboarding again, like for the first time. All sorts of great stuff.
Dude, that's legit. And so are you? Do you have to upgrade them? Like, is it like or not upgrade, but like when new technology comes out, are they like?
Yeah. I mean, there's always that option.
Just download the new software.
Dude, no joke. We're probably not far off from having prosthetics that are like that.
Yeah, just reattaching legs pretty soon. I mean,
so if you're going swimming, are you like putting on like a fin attachments and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, no, I have a pair of water legs, right? So, like these legs, the foot. I don't have an ankle, so if I wanted to kick, I would go backwards because the water would just come in here, right?
Yeah.
But I have a pair of legs where I have a button that I can press and the foot goes down like that. Then I attach some fins on them and I'm boning out. It's like I go faster with those. So yeah.
It's $1 million, $6 million man.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah, they're in my truck right now. Right?
Yeah.
So how many upgrades of prosthetics how many have you had before these?
Maybe 6 or 7.
Okay.
I still have some of the ones like the blades, the running blades. I have those.
And this is over the course of how many years? So you're out of the hospital. You're in the hospital for a total of 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And then they finally release you. So this is your in like your late 20s at this time?
No,
mid 20s?
Upper mid, like 20.
Okay.
28.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah, and then
So you come back to San Diego, or you're still dating that girl?
Yeah.
Does that work? Do you guys stay dating? How does that?
Yeah, we stayed dating for a long time. But then out of the hospital, I didn't go home. Like I got put in a brain injury rehabilitation in Escondido of all places.
Yeah.
And it was gnarly, right? Like it was great. I did a lot for my recovery, but when you get traumatic brain injuries, you see everything, right? Like crazy people. Like,
why did they put you in there? Because you had some brain damage?
There was a lot. I had a traumatic brain injury.
Okay. So it was because most of what you've discussed has been because your legs were so destroyed. Right. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together that you had that much.
And that was probably the biggest focus because it was such a bad brain injury. And all the other stuff was just trauma that we have to take care of.
Were there like people and things that you couldn't remember?
No, but I mean there was a point in the beginning of the injury when I remember everything, and I think I'm lucky to remember this, but I remember doing just crazy things like my filter was off. Like if I got upset, I'd just like fuck you,
Not a logical, well thought out response.
Yeah,
it's like dudes who have CTE.
Yeah,
and they just like lash out immediately with anger.
Sure.
Yeah, and one of the better stories, and I don't remember this, but my mom will tell it to everybody. So when you're in the hospital, you're in bed so much, they give you shots every night in your stomach so you don't clot, right? It's a regular thing. And the nurse, this little Filipino nurse, her name was Arlene. I remember her. She was a sweet little girl, and she comes in and gives me the shot. I'm like, wait. And because I'm a really good bullshitter, right? And I look at her, and she's like, what is it? I was like, is that a blah, blah, blah needle? And she's like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, let me see. And she's like, and my mom's sitting right there and shaking her head.
Don't do it. I know my kid. Don't do it.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, no, trust me, it's okay. I'll give it right back to you. She's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I just take it out of her hand, and I'm like, yeah, that's not it.
Chuck it across.
Wait, so you did that just because you were tired of fucking getting needles jammed into your stomach?
Who knows what I was.
That's funny. Holy shit.
And I guess she screams like, ah! And my mom's like, it's okay. And then, another nurse walks in, and they end up giving me the shot. But that's the kind of things I was doing, right? I would never do that now. Like,
sure.
I do crazy, but that's had a lot to do with the brain injury.
Yeah.
Chuck it.
And then it helped when I got to this is 2 years out, right? So I get to this brain injury facility, and I start seeing people that are doing crazy shit. And it kind of put things into perspective for me. It was like, but these guys have got brain injuries, and they're doing some weird shit. And then some of it related to me. I see some things that I would do, right? I'm like, but to see someone else do it?
It's a different perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I was like,
sure.
huh. I was, I guess lucky enough to put that together and be like, all right, I got to change.
Yeah.
And then I was in a group home, and this was a program catered to get back to your independent self. So the better you do, they'll upgrade you, right?
Yeah.
So then they gave me like my own apartment out like in the city, kind of close to the facility, but within a mile away. But you have your own apartment.
What an incredible process! Like that even exists.
Yeah, exactly.
That they can transition people like that.
Yeah. And everything's legit. Like they're paying for my internet, my cable. So I was happy, right?
Yeah.
And they're giving you money for groceries every week. So it was, you're living a life of luxury essentially. But meanwhile, like my workers' comp insurance for this program, from what I understand, a month was $30,000, right? So
I was gonna say. I mean, I'm doing the math in my head, just kind of as you go, and I can't even put a number on it.
Yeah, it's wild. And at that time, I hadn't, came back to a settlement, and I had lawyers, and a couple years, well, maybe 6 years ago, I looked at the bills, and my lawyer showed me over $26 million.
I was gonna say,
That's.
I was gonna ask you. That was gonna be one of my questions.
That's what I was
Like, how
getting.
much
I
was
didn't
the
think
whole
that.
thing?
I was doing the math, like I said, and I was thinking like 5-6 million.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Holy fuck!
I was thinking like
balls.
3. I was like, that's probably like 3.
Dude.
Well, you think about it. I mean, being in the hospital for 2 years, right?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Over 70 surgeries.
Yeah,
Fuck, that's so much money. Holy shit.
$26 million.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Shit. It does. When you put it that way, 70 surgeries. I mean, think about just what a night in the hospital costs you.
Yeah.
Let alone with all the meds that he's getting pumped through his body.
Yeah.
I mean, they charge you $30 for a fucking Tylenol, dude.
Just the helicopter.
Yeah,
ride.
but
Yeah, the helicopter was what?
Yeah.
$100,000?
Something like that.
That
By the way,
jet fuel.
Little off topic.
Jet fuel.
Did you see that video of the old lady that broke her leg or something hiking in like Arizona or Nevada?
That was hilarious.
And they go to pick her up on like the
Yeah.
whatever those things are, and it just started spinning all fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was out of control.
Yeah,
spin.
out
They
of
couldn't
control
stop
spinning,
it.
yeah.
Dude, I was watching that and I'm like, I really hope that this doesn't, like, I thought she was going to fall out of it.
Yeah, me
It's like,
too.
it was so fast.
It was spinning for like 5 minutes
It
or some
was.
shit like
It
that.
was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that you guys are still dating at this point. Are you guys still dating now?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we're cool as fuck now, but
Yeah.
How did you breach the sex thing? Because obviously you tried to get the Viagra.
With his dick.
right. Well, I mean, we're a little further out now, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
at a rehab, and I get at this point, I'm getting, Viagra, and it still wasn't working.
Oh, so you got somebody to give you some.
Yeah.
Viagra,
About
okay.
a year after that, it still wasn't working, and then I really was fucking going to town researching, right? And then my brain's still a little shady, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm never gonna get better if I don't handle shit. They're feeding me shit food, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how can you heal off fucking rice-a-roni and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, for sure. For
And
sure.
Jello.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I started buying all these books about healing the brain, nutrition, and everything, and that was empowering for me. So I was like a one-way, straight ahead, going for nutrition and
Mhm.
everything, and that's what I did, right? And I was like experimenting with all these herbs, all these supplements, things that heal the brain, and that's when I really started to turn a corner. Like my body was like, "Thank you,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the light turned back on.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely got better and better, and then now I'm better than I ever was. But I mean, that's when my dick started to act again. It's like,
Like, did you actually try to take some herbs that were designed to help?
oh yeah,
Yeah. Because
Drink
I've heard about a bunch of them that do allegedly, but
yeah,
Drinking 3 penis wine.
yeah. And here's another factor, right? So I go to this, urologist, and he's like, well, we got to see where your testosterone's at. And come back, and he looks and this is astronomically low for a
20-something-year-old man.
And then they go to test why, and it's because my pituitary gland, which was part of the brain injury,
wasn't producing any.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Holy shit.
And I was like, okay, well, you need testosterone, so
yeah.
Of course, dick starts working better when
I'm
shots of testosterone. Then my drive really came back. Then I was like an animal then, and everything turned a corner.
And that helps you heal too. I mean, if you're fucking and you feel man, like a fucking man again.
Oh yeah, just blowing loads.
How was that first? How was that first load? That just had to have been fucking epic.
Yeah, because you're talking 2 years?
2 years.
You've had to have had some wet dreams at that point in time. No,
I did. I had one. I remember because my nurse was laying there, and I was like, I woke her up, and I was like, holy fuck.
That's fucking outstanding.
And dude, pull up the cover, and it's just everywhere, right?
Just an oyster on the covers.
And but the support I got from this girl, she was like, oh my god, this is like a miracle. It's gonna work again,
Yeah.
And she was all about it.
She sounds fucking outstanding.
Yeah,
dude.
she was.
Amazing.
She was all about it.
Yeah.
So what was the breakup over? You would go through all that.
Yeah, it's it didn't have she had some pretty serious family issues, and it kind of boiled down to her getting abused by her dad as a child, right? Like gnarly abuse, like sexual stuff, right?
Yeah, that's.
And her sister was really, really affected by it, and they were very close. They were living together, and her sister was in and out of suicide, and it was tough.
Brutal.
They moved back to Oregon to be with their mom, who lives there, who's kind of sweet lady, but the enabler ultimately. So they wanted to take care of her, and she's like a little small, just very broken down lady. So they wanted to be close to family. But I was in Oregon, I think it was 4 or 5 months ago, and we got together for lunch, and we're still cool as fuck. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, given the history that you guys have, I imagine that you would be cool together.
Yeah, and at my 10-year mark of my injury, which was last October, she was the first person I called. Yeah. She didn't know. She was like, "Oh my god, 10 years." Like Shoni was saying, shut the fuck up. 10 years?
It's crazy.
Felt like yesterday.
It's crazy. So after you guys break up, now you're back on the dating scene, huh?
Yeah, that's when.
I think I have as many questions about just your afterlife once you got over, or you left the hospital and you had to go through all this. I think I have, like I said, just as many questions about your life now, because now life is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Now you've gone through the healing, you've done the research, you've endured all this shit. And now it's like, okay, well, life doesn't stop.
Right. And I mean, like I said, now I'm at the point where I feel better than ever.
Yeah.
Even than before the injury, right? But everything's more of a priority for me, like taking care of myself physically, and then nutritionally, right? I'm like a fucking Nazi with nutrition, right? I mean, if you
the nutrition Nazi,
it's like the SS, but the NN. Wait, so where are you living at the time? At this point?
Now I'm living in Bakersfield.
Okay, right. So you're on your own.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've been on my own for the last 6 years, I think.
Okay,
but yeah, now everything's fully independent, right? And
how was it transitioning? Well, I mean, did you have a lot of people who were helping you along the way? Deal with all that shit. Or were you kind of just handling it on your own? Because that's got to be a tough transition to go from, like a home, where you got things taken care of for you, to now you're on your own.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that? So I moved out. I got out, and then I moved to Leucadia. But you rent a room from somebody.
Yeah.
And it was a dope pad. It was like on the west side of the 101, so you're on the beach side.
So you went from the place in Escondido or wherever.
Yeah, to Leucadia. To renting a room off Craigslist, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of. It got crazy after a while, right? The lady was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're living with somebody on Craigslist. Who knows?
That could be real hit or miss.
It never ends well.
Yeah, she was a narcissistic, so and I start, I'm struggling a little bit. I mean, I'm not making shit for money because I haven't got a settlement yet. So
yeah, that takes a long time from other people I know who've gone through it.
Yeah, and I'm not allowed to, lawyers like, don't ever go back to work. That'll fuck up your
fuck no. Fuck no.
He's good.
And then I'm talking with my lawyer, and I'm like, well, fuck, I don't got no money. And he was like, this might be a good move. If you say that you're struggling, you're forgetting to take your meds, just you got to make stuff up, right? So then,
should we cut this part
Yeah.
out? I don't know.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We're gonna have to beep this whole thing out.
but no, a lot of this was true though. Like I was still healing. So I forget to take my meds a lot. And then I'd wonder if I took them. Did I take them? And I
Yeah.
take them again.
Especially because it's every day, so it's or multiple times a day too. Like
Fuck, I do that with brushing my teeth. I'm like, did I brush my teeth?
Yeah, you're feeling your
Yeah,
teeth.
like-
Like,
You gotta check the bristles to see if they're still wet.
Like you try to, that's the one where you do that.
Yeah. So he was like, yeah. And then I tell the my insurance adjuster that, and I was like, I just need more support, so I need to go back to learning services. I felt safe there. And like, okay, and it looked good, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's too sick. He needs to go back. So I go back, and it start from the beginning again. They moved me in the group home, but even my case manager there was like, yeah, just be yourself. We'll get you out of the group home, but we got to make it look good.
Yeah.
So I go back to the group home. I'm living with people in this fucking room. It's back to the beginning. Like, oh, God.
How long were you on your own in Leucadia place for?
I'd say 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
oh, that's a long time though to then go back.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, because you already probably started to get accustomed to being on your own again. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah, so then I get back there and back on my own in my apartment again, and then I get another girlfriend. Oh yeah, so you asked about the dating, right? So it was interesting, like because I came from a place of where I had it all, because she knew everything. Like she was my fucking nurse. Like she knew the craziest shit about me, right? And then I was like, man, I'm still young, so in my 20s, it's very important. Got to get back out there, but how's it going to be?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Well,
freaking the fuck out. Yeah.
I didn't know shit about amputees before my injury. I was like, homeboy, I got no legs. That's kind of a big deal, right? So, I'm wearing pants, right? And today's the age of online dating, right? You can pick up your phone and get a date in a couple minutes, and so that's what I did. Like I posted my pictures and everything, just me normally, but without the legs showing, right?
Yeah.
Or is it on Tinder?
yeah, Tinder and Bumble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So and I was like, it made sense. I don't need to put pictures of my legs. Like that's. Yeah, I don't want to be having these crazy conversations.
You don't need, if bitches don't do full body shots, you don't have to do it
Yeah,
either.
exactly. Fuck them.
Yeah, so then I show up to the dates on pants, and sometimes it's nothing, right? You go on these dates like, this ain't gonna go nowhere.
Yeah, you're not feeling it right away. I've been on those.
Yeah,
Just
and
get me out of
I'm
here.
about the chemistry and the connections. Right?
Mhm.
I'm all about the energy, right? So if I could tell, she's more superficial, whatever. It's like, yeah, we'll end it there. A couple drinks. See you later. That was that. But sometimes, it gets a little more serious. I'm like, I like this girl, right? And I'll tell them my story. Well, yeah, look, I had this gnarly injury, and well, what happened? I'll tell them the injuries and show my legs, right? It's been I could write a book about the amount of dates I've been on and the different responses I've gotten. Sometimes the way the tides will turn, and sometimes, some girls are like, wow, that's fucking amazing. Like, you're that much hotter, and that's cool, right?
Yeah,
That's a
cool.
good feeling.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, oh, it's like, how do you get out of bed? And it's like weird questions, right? Yeah.
That was my next question. Damn it.
They implanted wings in my back. I just flap them and get out of bed.
I do a fucking handstand.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. I mean, that's just something that no one could comprehend. Like that moment of A, where you realize that this is something you're going to share with a chick, and B, like you have no fucking clue how they're going to react.
Yeah.
Like that's heavy.
Did you ever get drunk and hook up with a girl that you met at night and they had no clue that you had a?
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Well, it obviously had to get there at some point. I mean,
no, I'll tell you the story. And like I told you, it was one of the coolest stories that I remember to this day. So I was still in Escondido, but I had my own apartment, so I'm fully independent. But over the wings of the brain injury rehabilitation, but I could do whatever I wanted, and line up this date with this cute half Asian, half whatever.
It's not important for the story.
Yeah, her name was Jamie though, very cute, right? We really vibed on this date. We had drinks and everything, and she lived in I don't know, Temecula or something like that, and or Ramona, one of those two. Which is kind of far.
Boonies, basically.
Yeah. It's not here.
Yeah,
The country.
Far.
Yeah, we were just on the date talking, laughing for a couple hours, and I was like, "Hey, you want to come back to my crib? Just chill for a while, maybe have another glass of wine." She's like, "Oh, for sure." And we get there, I'm like, "Yeah, it's getting late, so I don't want you to drive." She's like, "Yeah, I will for sure stay." We had already been making out and everything, and from that point, it starts getting a little more hot and heavy. She's grinding me and everything on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going good, and then she's like, "Yeah, let's go to your bed." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I'm super buzzed, right? And she drags me in there. It's like going for it, right?
Fuck yeah.
My pants are still on, but they kind of go down to the bottom,
Mhm.
and it's dark, right? So you couldn't see shit,
Sure.
right? And boom, we just start having sex right there. And I hadn't told her shit about the legs, right?
That's what I was going to ask you, because you did say that on the other dates you would bring it up if the vibe was
I
right.
had only told her about the injury. Like, I was like, yeah, I fell off a zipline. She's like, oh, that's crazy. But I didn't tell
Yeah.
her about the extent of
Okay.
the injuries. And we were just getting it on, right? And have sex. And I go to we're down and pull my pants up. And I'm like, I go brush my teeth.
Wait. She did she know?
No.
So you didn't, you pulled out a straight zipper, yeah?
No. The pants came off, but like maybe it's right here. You know?
Oh, okay.
That's that
All right.
quick fuck, you know.
Yeah. No, that's what I was trying to paint the picture, because I'm curious as to how it didn't come up in that moment.
That's just how aggressive she was, right?
Yeah. Good for her.
She's
Good
a nasty girl.
Fuck
More
yeah.
to your advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't even get fully naked then.
Right.
Okay, got it.
So I'm brushing my teeth. I'm like, thoughts going through my head. She's naked laying in bed.
Yeah.
She's crashing there for the night. I'm like, huh. Okay, we'll figure this out when I get there.
Well, I mean,
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
I'm just really self-conscious about my calves.
So I sit down on the edge of the bed and I tell her, like, huh. She's looking at me. She's like, what? You okay? I'm like, yeah. Hopefully I don't regret this. She's like, regret what? I was like, she's like, she grabs me. She's like, stop, trust me. She's like, it's okay. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, trust me. I know. It's okay. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I know. And I'm like, what do you know?
Can you elaborate on that, please?
And she's like, your legs, I know. I was like, I didn't tell you. She's like, I figured it out. And I was like, and then she's like, gives me a kiss. She's like, trust me, it's all right.
So she likes to fuck and she's smart.
Yeah.
And you were like walking with a limp, or it wasn't like clear.
Yeah, I mean, I walk much better now, but like, still, I mean, my gait wasn't, you know.
Did she say how she knew? Like, did she ultimately reveal that to you?
No.
No.
Like, but I didn't really want to ask her at that point.
Okay.
I was like, you know, who knows how she knows.
She may have assumed. I don't know.
Either that or, you know, who knows. Like I said, you know, you can research people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's not that difficult in
But
this day and age.
I have a generic name, so I'm Kevin Johnson. There's a lot of us out there.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? But she
I
figured
mean,
it
all
out.
the professional basketball player would be the first like 3,000 things that come up.
Yeah. So and we go to sleep. I take out my legs to go to bed, right?
Yeah.
And you know it was good, but I woke up that morning and she was gone. I was like, oh fuck, you know, was this like a dream again?
So she was gone by the time you got up?
Yeah.
Damn, that's shady.
It is, but
It's interesting.
But
Yeah.
she had
Dope.
like,
but at the end of the day, you still fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
but then I got to the fridge to get water because I was dehydrated from drinking alcohol. Right? There was a letter on the fridge like about how great the night was and to call her. Right?
Okay.
She just had a dip to work or whatever. But yeah, so that we did it for a little bit, but just didn't work out. But
Sure.
yeah, that was one of the cooler stories.
That's got to feel great though, you know, like because it just gets you over that hump. Like,
Yeah, and then I felt more confident. Right? I'm
Yeah.
like, if somebody doesn't like it, then it's not fucking worth it, right?
Yeah, it's not your fucking problem.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to change their mind either. You know,
Yeah.
that's when you go down the wrong road when you're like, oh no, you know, it's all right.
yeah.
It's interesting. Your experiences with this whole thing with women have thus far, at this point at least, been positive.
For sure. Yeah.
Like that could easily go the other direction, and
Until-
I'm sure it has for a lot of people.
Until you get the women who are seeking you out for their weird fetishes and stuff like that.
yeah, I haven't ran into that yet, but
Yet being the operative word.
I'm sure if you post something on Craigslist,
Have you
you'll
had
find
any
something real
interactions
quick.
where it was just like they stood out to you as like, wow, that chick was a total bitch about it?
yeah, for sure.
You have?
Yeah.
Yeah, in San Diego. there's
I
fucking
know,
a
but
lot
I'm
of
saying I
bitches
was
out here.
kind of hoping he would say, "Oh, it wasn't that bad."
Fuck
but,
no, I'm
yeah,
sure there's
I
some
know.
fucking pricks. I
Yeah.
deal with them.
Are there any that really stand out where you were like, "Holy shit, that woman was"?
Yeah, no, I had this girl that I was really vibing with. Like things were going really well. She was this fitness model, whatever, and
They all are.
Right.
In San Diego, every girl.
She's an influencer.
yeah, and things were great. And we go back to my house again, you know, just to chill, see where it goes from there. And I hadn't told her about the injury, right? And I started telling her. She's like, "Well, what happened?" I was like, "Yeah, well, probably the biggest thing, most physical thing, were my legs." And she's like, "Well, what's up with your legs?" I was like, "Well, double amputee." She's like, "What the fuck?" She said,
That was her response.
Really?
Those 3 words. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
I was like, "What is that? Is that a big deal?" She's like, "Yeah, that's kind of fucking crazy."
You're like, yeah, no shit, I'm living it.
Wow. Yeah. I know. I've had to deal with it for the last 12 years of my life.
Welcome to the jungle, bitch.
That's crazy. You take photos of yourself at the gym every day. Relax.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird reaction.
Yeah.
It's a shitty reaction.
But I feel like most people have never been in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't defend those types of people, but I gotta bet, like you just said, there's a lot of people who have no clue how to react.
Yeah,
you know?
and I understand that, you know.
But I was gonna say, you probably taught, like, you have room for that, you know.
Yeah, and it's not conditional for me, so I'm like, well, you know, if that's an issue for you, then, you know, we.
Yeah, it ain't gonna change for me.
Go back to dating your drug dealer. I don't give a fuck.
So that was that with her, but she still spent the night. But.
Nice.
No, she did, of course. Fuck yeah.
At the end of the day,
At the end of the day,
I still fucked.
That's the only thing that ever matters.
That's the only thing that fucking matters.
You know what? I think a little bit in the conversation she got a little more into it. She asked me a question. She's like, "What's it like when they're off and you're having sex?" And I was like, "Well, you could probably get into different, you know, angles, right? That you're not used to." Right?
that's true.
Yeah.
For sure.
Those
right?
damn cumbersome legs are out of the way. That's interesting.
Yeah. So you can get deeper. That's all.
That's true.
Yeah.
Say slower, you can get deeper.
I think I was just sexually assaulted.
Yo, so when you were in a coma for 7 months,
3 months.
like 3 months, did you you don't remember any of that?
No,
It's
I
like-
don't. And a lot of people, that's a very common question.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you saw Jesus.
No,
Who knows?
I wish. No,
I mean, some people in comas have said that.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's interesting that you brought that up because I was going to ask the same thing because I'm sure you've heard people who have been in comas. They say, yeah, I was aware of everything going on. I just couldn't react to it. Really, dude?
And I think another factor was that, though, they had me so heavily medicated.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were amputating. I mean,
Just
and
zonked
one of my
out.
legs was amputated when I was in
Yeah.
coma. Like, my abdomen was wide open. I mean, that's when a lot of the surgeries every day. Surgery.
Jesus.
So who the fuck knows? I mean,
I didn't even know you could have multiple surgery or like, have back-to-back surgeries.
Is it really 70 or is it higher than that? Or is that what you...
at this point, it may be higher because, I mean, everything. I mean, I hit my jaw so hard on the injury that it killed all the roots of my gum. All my teeth essentially died.
Wait,
So-
the accident, the actual impact killed your fucking roots?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So, I mean, I got
you got
implants.
implants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which I think are legit, right? So,
Implants look better anyway.
yeah, yeah.
Did you get a bottle opener put in there too?
I mean, again, it's just insane for me to fathom that you hit the ground with such force that it killed your fucking teeth, basically.
Yeah, well, my jaw, like, right, I used to have a big scar that you can't really see it anymore, but, I mean, it broke the jaw, right, and then, but just like that, and then it just kind of vibrated all the way up through, so, I mean, even my eye, look, my right eye, everything was injured, dude.
I mean, do you remember being in, like, an excruciating amount of pain, ever? Or
No.
you were just so...
The worst I felt was when I had that infection, and, the 104 temperature.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I remember laying there one night with the nurse. She would spend the night with me in the hospital in Colorado. I mean, and I was dying, right? I was like, and she when we talk about it now, she's like, yeah, you were dying, right? And I was like, laying there one night, I was like, this could be it, right? And
Fuck.
I came to grips with that. I was like, what a fucking life, right?
Yeah.
This is it, right? I mean, I've done a lot,
Were you like hallucinating when you started to hit that 104 temperature?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of
that
crazy
makes
stuff was
sense.
happening. I was like, ugh. But then that's when they took me into surgery. I think 2 days later to kind of tame it down a little bit with the external fixator and then the gnarly ass antibiotics.
Dude,
Yeah.
what's it like to accept the fact that you accepted the fact that you could die? Like, that's heavy.
It was, and it was an interesting feeling because I was just, and at the same time there was a peace that came with
Yeah,
it,
that's what I've heard from other people.
and it was like you feel kind of warm in the heart area, right? I was like, huh. And when you think about it, like you think about life, and it's not like you're scary. You're just going like, wow, this is fucking incredible.
Mm.
But what I knew was, like, even if I was to leave, that it wasn't the end. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah.
And that's a really good feeling, because I remember growing up as a child, I'd be like, what happens after death? Like,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
well,
when a
that's
family
why most
member
people
dies.
fear death
Yeah.
because no one really knows what happens. But again, I've heard other people say that, like, I wasn't afraid.
yeah,
And I didn't feel like this was the period on the end of the proverbial sentence, but there was
Yeah.
like something else.
yeah, that's a nice way to put it. So and I remember being comfortable with it, and she was laying there right next to me, and I just kind of grabbed her hand and fell asleep. And woke up and that's, a couple days later had that surgery and back at life, right? So got away.
As soon as you came out of that surgery, did you immediately feel better than you did before you went into
Well, I was
it?
still sick because I still had the infection.
Sure.
Right? But I felt better, yeah. I mean, and I didn't have a raging fucking temperature.
Fever,
either.
yeah.
Yeah, so I felt better. And I was walking on the fixator, which was cool. I mean, it would look like a fucking going through the airport and that thing. Oh my god.
Yeah. No, I would imagine.
I'm sure they got to scan it a few times.
Oh yeah, more than that. And like
TSA is like, what the fuck is this?
yeah,
Where's the cocaine, sir?
We need you in secondary.
and it wasn't even as much TSA. It was like the kids I would see. They'd be like,
Oh,
"Whoa."
yeah. Yeah.
It was like a transformer. Like I don't know how many times I got called a transformer.
Mommy,
the
Optimus
Transformer.
I
Prime.
mean, the real question is with the blades, how fast is your 40 time now?
Yeah. So, but I remember when I left Colorado and the surgeon was like, if you amputate, you can be as tall as you want. So you lose both your legs, you're set.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yao
that-
Ming,
that
watch
is-
out.
On Tinder, I'm 6'4".
That is an interesting little side benefit of that whole scenario.
So you get a couple inches
Oh,
there?
fuck yeah. I was 5'9" pre-injury.
yeah, you were fuck, he's still taller than me, man. Back then.
I was
So-
like a normal guy.
Yeah.
So what did you go? You go up to 6 foot?
6'2".
6'2"?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
Dude, that's the move.
It is really crazy when you think about it.
You
It's
ever
kind
thought
of
of-
sad when it comes to that, where you're like, does it really have to matter that much? But it really does, right? Like,
I'm sure Joy and
Yeah,
I
no,
can both testify
Did you notice
to that.
women looking at you differently now that you're taller?
oh yeah,
It's like seriously.
it's the power factor goes way up.
I've just wanted to know that feeling just once. Just once in my
I
life.
think they can stretch them now.
I could be walking
And
around.
maybe I'll go in. Hey, can we get a GoFundMe on the TG for fucking stretching my leg surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could be walking around Costco and like just feel taller than everyone. I'm like, this
yeah,
feels-
that is true.
At some point, like the taller you go, does it start losing balance and stuff like that, or that doesn't really
Not
change
yet.
anything?
Not yet.
He's like, we'll see. I'll let you know when I go to 6'5".
Getting up to 7 foot.
I'm happy at 6'2", right? Like, I mean, all it is a fucking Allen wrench, right? So
Yeah.
if the girl's gonna wear like really high heels, I'll boost it up a little bit,
Oh, legit. You can adjust it.
Yeah, well, you could see all the
Oh,
spots for the
fuck.
Allen wrenches.
yeah.
So how tall could those get you right there?
I'd say 6'8", 6'9".
Damn.
But that's when I'm, that's when back to your question, you might be like a little like, whoa.
Have you tried it out?
No. And
I mean, you got to get new clothes at that point.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
I'm just saying, sitting at home, you're bored. You're like, fuck it. I'm gonna see what 6'8" feels like.
yeah. Okay, no, I can dig that. It's just not something you can switch up, and you got to buy new pants.
I'm thinking it was like
no.
those president pants where you wear the stilts.
Yeah.
At some point, though, like your arms and your torso don't match up.
Right, yeah. It starts looking goofy.
Then it
after
starts
you go-
looking like you got like
Yeah.
Exactly.
you got 2 kids in your
Yeah.
jacket.
What's been the most difficult thing for you to adjust in your life ever? I mean, now I'm sure everything is like second nature, but I imagine that's a fucking huge impact on your life. I mean, it's
Well,
massive.
initially the toughest thing was
The sex?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm fucking done without that. But then that's now good without even a Viagra, right?
Yeah.
I don't even need that anymore. But now the most difficult thing was just, I'd say getting back into the flow of work again, right? Like,
Mhm.
because I do so much for work, right? Entrepreneur, but I get inconsistent and then I feel content. Then I'm just like, no, fuck, I'm not doing enough. And then I get so much like with your story, like you got to write a book. You need to be speaking all over the fucking world. Then I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Just kind of fluctuating in and out of those feelings. You know what I
Have
mean?
you done much of that as far as like
Yeah. I mean, I do.
motivational speaking and just
Yeah.
talking about what happened?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do a fair amount of it, but I still don't think enough, right?
Yeah.
And the one part that I struggle with is marketing myself, like, because I'm social media and everything. I just kind of resist it, right? I'm not against it, but it seems to really make me tired,
It's a lot of effort.
for
I mean,
sure.
to sell and market yourself is not an easy task.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to do
You
it,
always got to be doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just be
Constantly.
sitting there on the couch
No.
like
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
TV.
There's
Yeah.
always something to be doing.
It's like people who vlog. You know, they have to every day. They're like,
Yeah.
fuck, I gotta
Yeah.
go I gotta go shoot guns today. I gotta
Yeah.
go rent a car today. It's like,
yeah, and it's just, that's not what I want to do. So, I mean, I'm thinking about paying somebody to do it, but at the same time, I mean, with the amount of people that I meet and the things that they say I should be doing, it's just that'll take a toll on you a little bit. But as far as the physical aspects, I mean, I'm on autopilot again. I'm just embracing everything that I have, especially after what I've been through. I'm like, if I'm not going to embrace life from here on out, then what the fuck is the point?
Did this shift your perspective completely?
Oh, and the most radical perspective shift you could even dream of.
Yeah.
I mean, I love everybody. Like I'm just so happy. Like old people. What's funny is even being blind in one eye 100%, like everything looks so much more brighter to me. The colors, everything. Just the world's just. It's like wow, this is fucking.
Wait, what can you not do because you're blind in the right eye?
I don't know. For a while there was, he'll never be able to drive again, shit like that. So I had to go through 2 years of vision therapy and all these gnarly tests to get my license again. Because the legs.
But you can drive.
Yeah.
It's basically just at this point, depth perception is really the thing, right?
Yeah, and I have depth perception, right? Because again, I wasn't born blind in the eye, so I know where everything is in space. Right, so I mean, there's that. So I had to go through like extra testing to get the license again, right? So I've only had my license for 2 years now, so 8 years I didn't have a license.
That's crazy.
That's a pain in the dick.
I close one eye, and I mean, dude.
That's when you're drunk trying to drive home, though.
Yeah.
Close the one eye.
So
I can't imagine having it.
Is that what happened to your car? Or what?
Yeah. The truth comes out.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
But at that time, in that 8-year mark, about 3 years out of the hospital, I had this dream. I was riding a bike, and that night I crashed at my mom's house, right? So she lives in Cardiff, and I woke up and I still had my old beach cruiser in the garage. I was like, wonder if I could fuck around on that. And I did,
Sure.
right? Just like once you learn how to ride a bike, but with prosthetic legs, who knows? But it was the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm jamming. I'm like, fuck, this is great. And I took that with me back to rehab, right? And I used that for a while. Then I got a nice bike, right? Like a road bike.
Yeah.
And then I was riding that everywhere. Like that was my ride. Like I was riding my bike from Escondido all the way to Encinitas. Like I was doing crazy shit on the bike. And at that point I was like, I'm never going to drive again. Like this is beautiful, right? I could see so much more on the bike, like experience everything, right? And I just got really into it. And I was wearing shorts, so people would see me like honking their horns, and I was motivating myself. It was like one of those stories, right? Like, this is the life. Like I liked it. But then I was like, with other things that were picking up for work and stuff, it's not very functional, right? Especially with having all the work I do in LA now. So
Yeah, going back like long trips.
Yeah. For a
50-mile bike ride, that's cool. But like, long trips.
For a while, I was taking the train because you take the train all the way to Union, the coaster, right?
Oh yeah.
But then that's what $40 to get there, and then another $50 Uber ride, depending how far into the valley you
You
are.
got to pay a little extra for that Wi-Fi too, because you don't want to be bored out of your mind while you're on there.
You got to be swiping on Tinder.
Yeah,
That's true.
So eventually just got the license back, and I haven't rode my bike for shit since I got my license.
Fuck that bike.
Yeah.
And I always thought, like, even when I get a car, I'm like, I'll just have it to have it. I'm not riding my bike everywhere. But that hasn't been the case at all.
It's way too convenient.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it really is. Yeah, when you think about it.
You don't have a car though, right?
No. Honestly, like I never even think about it anymore. There's a few things that you have to do where you're like, oh fuck, it'd be useful to have a car right now. But other than that, don't even think about it.
Well, you also live walking distance, spitting distance from fucking bars. And
but there are plenty
Trader
of people
Joe's.
who live, spitting distance from everything, who have cars and they rarely ever drive them. I mean, it's just a change of your mindset. Like a lot of people are attached to their cars. Like I love driving. And I still do. Like driving was always something that was like relaxing and peaceful to me. I wouldn't even listen to music, turn that shit off, some silence, enjoy the ride. And yeah, it was just something I just had done since I was 16. And then now that I don't even have a car anymore, it's like, don't even think about it.
Yeah, that's how it was when I was riding my bike. I was like, I don't need this shit.
Yeah.
And I could have swore for a while when I was riding my bike, like you pay attention to everything so much more, like nature. And I'd take these long routes, like nature routes, like
Yeah.
you can't take the fucking freeway on your
Like the
bike.
scenic routes
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah. It's like going through like Del Dios Canyon. And
Yep. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was wild.
It's funny you say that because there have been many times, like whenever I have to drop my truck off or when I had a car, like at the dealership or something, I would always walk back to wherever I was going to. And you notice a lot more. It's crazy how much shit you notice just walking or taking it slower or actually absorbing shit around you. It's really kind of amazing how much more you notice.
And it was easy, because you could just park your bike right
Yeah.
wherever you're going to the grocery store and wherever. You just lock it up, boom, you're good.
Well, I mean, if you think about people who live in like New York City, and if you ever gone to stay there for an extended, like for a week or so, I mean, you walk a long fucking way, like miles and miles, and you don't even fucking think about it. Whereas like here in San Diego, if it's like a mile, you're like, oh, I guess I got to drive.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? But like, that's just the mindset. But like when you're in New York, you walk like however many blocks, you don't even think twice about how far you're going. You're like, oh, it's just like, 10, 12 blocks up that way. I'm just going to go.
You could get there faster walking in New York.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you know how long it's going to take you if you fucking drive.
But there's also a bunch of shit going on. There's stores, shops, people watching, all of that. So it's just what you do, you don't even think about it. And so that's kind of like once you give up the car and you realize how much you were just abusing the privilege of having a car, then you're like, oh, okay, this really isn't
true
that big of a difference.
It's true. Do you guys have any more questions?
I probably have lots. How much were those prosthetics? Do you know?
Yeah, around 30 a leg, so 60 total. I'd say.
Fuck.
But they've also got
30 what?
A lot of
30 grand.
Not $30. It's not Amazon.
Oh.
There's a lot of extra gadgets on here. Like this.
I mean, I see the carbon fiber.
Yeah.
But
That's how you can go fast.
This is just the foot, right? This part. And then these are other things. This is like a suspension vacuum system. So there's another pump in here. So every time I compress the ground, the inside of the socket, the air gets sucked out. So it's attached to me. Like you wouldn't be able to pull it off. I mean, the strongest man wouldn't be able to pull it off. The only way you could do this is break the seal, roll up the sleeve, and then you can take it off.
The vacuum is for when it attaches?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is like a legit part of my leg, right?
Yeah.
Before all the legs that I had before they'd always feel like a little pendulum at the end, right? Because it's not very secure. But this system is like, I tell anyone that's going to go any other direction, you're fucking crazy.
What does it feel like? Like, I mean, obviously your legs still respond like as if you had feet and legs, but that's just it's such a foreign concept.
Yeah, and it's just the human, I mean, the way that your body adapts, right? And the more that you take care of it, the more obviously things are going to be easier, right?
For sure.
And then just, it's kind of for me because I have the knee, right? So I can kind of use that as much as I can, like to kind of not manipulate, but use the heel to toe motion. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like that's the normal kind of
right.
Yeah.
So it's just a memory thing. Like your body and your brain knows what it's like because obviously you had 20 some odd years of operating with two functional legs.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's in our DNA. We're programmed to walk.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're gonna have to adapt, you're gonna have to adapt. You know, and there's easier ways to do that. The better the legs get, the easier it becomes. And for me, this has been by far the best system. And but this style of leg, because it's similar to the blades, right? Like the blades are just more radical. Mm-hmm. This is the first leg that they kind of a hybrid version where it's like an everyday version because I have the foot in here. The blades are rounded, so it's hard to even walk in the blades. You start running, you get going in the blades, then you're like a machine. But I got the blade here, but then it ends in like a foot shell in here, so I can still get the spring going off the toe. Mm-hmm. So I run in these a lot, right? But then I could stop right away. Good for sports like basketball or whatever, tennis, whatever. These are my favorite everyday legs. I got torsion adapters on them, so when I stand, I can torque like that.
Yeah.
You put all these extra gadgets on them.
I'm not even comfortable playing basketball at this age on my own legs.
Well, man, hey, $60,000, I'm playing some ball.
That's true. That's a valid point.
Damn, these are fucking expensive.
We want to mention something. Hopefully, Shoney watches this. Remember last time we just got done playing ball the day before.
That's right. Yes. You've beat him a few times.
3 times in a row.
But who's counting?
but can you dunk with them?
Go to 6'8".
Hey, 6'8", yo, fucking, he's dunking.
Hey, we don't got a power forward today. Gotta adjust those back up.
So, how many different sets of prosthetics do you currently have? You said these are like your favorite daily.
These are like the go-to everyday legs.
Yeah.
And I have the blades, right? The running legs.
Okay.
So I want to go jogging, sprinting, whatever. Then I have the water legs, which I use a lot. Well, not a lot, but when I go swimming. Mm-hmm. And then I have a pair of snowboard legs that we kind of custom made just specifically for snowboarding. So I got really good at snowboarding. I was good before my injury, then I got good after.
Yeah. Then
I picked up sponsors after. You know, there's not many doublers that can snowboard well. So.
Fuck no.
So are you just like bolting directly into the board or what?
No, it just I knew this. There's a really well-known amputee, bilateral double amputee named Amy Purdy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. She did like Dancing with the Stars and all that.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and she was competing at the Olympic level. as a double amputee, and I was asking her, what's your setup for boarding? And she's like, well, you do a basic leg, then you cut out this piece inside, a lot of little details, right? And then got those from her, and then went to my prosthetist, who I'm homies with, and we put together the legs, and they're fucking legit for boarding. So I only use those for snowboarding though. So
Do you go every season now?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if I don't, I start like last year. I lost some sponsors because I went like twice or something like that. So they don't have any fucking coverage. I mean, like, what do you sponsor for then? You know?
Yeah.
So I got to stay active with a lot of that. In the beginning, they were paying for my trips, but I mean, I just life. Like the next year, I was like, fuck, I got to work. You know. So,
What do you want to talk about? What you do for work?
yeah, so I like you mentioned, I get money for public speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to do a little of that, and then I work for a medicinal mushroom company called Four Sigmatic. A lot of people know about them. The mushroom coffees, right?
You gave some of that to Justin because he mentioned, he's like, oh, I had some mushroom. He said I had some mushroom coffee this morning, and I'm feeling really fucking focused.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff, and I spoke about mushrooms a lot in my healing recovery, right? Even in hospitals, like I speak at hospitals a lot. And they asked me about brain recovery, and there's a mushroom called lion's mane that actually stimulates the growth of new brain cells, right? Only a couple things on the planet can do that. And this mushroom is one of them. It's called nerve growth factor or neurogenesis. So it's actually grow new brain cells by eating or drinking this mushroom in a powder form. And one of the coffees has lion's mane in it. So it's a really unique synergy. You get like a nice buzz from the coffee, but also like a more of a focus, kind of uplifting, you know.
I need to try that because I like that combination.
I need some more brain cells or brain cells, whatever.
No, I got some in my car. I'll hook you up, but
I'm on my last two.
Your last 2 brain cells.
Serotonin's looking at me like,
They're rubbing each other together, trying to build some heat.
Yeah, so I do sales rep with them, and then I just along the road I met people like, you'd be perfect for this acting gig, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna say yes to that, and then that kind of blossomed into meeting more people, and then getting agents. So now I primarily do commercials, and so I did enough to be in the union, right? So
Yeah.
I got put in the union, and that's when you make good money, right? And I was just in the first ever commercial about cannabis, actually. So a lot of times I'll play a veteran, which funny enough, I was in the Navy for 5 years, well before my injury, and so I'll play the veteran, but usually you can see the legs, right?
That's what I was wondering. When you said you're doing acting, if they're hiring you for roles specific to, they're looking for amputees.
Usually always, right?
Yeah.
damn typecasting.
Yeah. Right?
But I just got casted for a role on actually shooting on the Midway on the bank USAA, the military bank.
Yeah.
Just got that commercial. That's what LA for fitting. And
That's big, dude.
Yeah, it's a big one.
They're major.
They're filming on the Midway too, which is fucking legit because I live right next to Bankers Hill. And I was with the director who we got kind of cool. We were talking about nutrition and working out, and he was like, I don't think they're going to use your legs for this. I'm going to walk you up to the producers, and they're like, no, we don't need it for his legs because you're in uniform, right? You're going to be on the flight deck. He's like, all right.
Oh, as in they're not going to use you as in show your legs.
Right. I'm
Okay.
going to be in the commercial, but I'm going to have a uniform on.
Yeah.
So, but he's like, he was a cool guy. He's like, man, I got so many roles for you. So you just meet people, right?
Fuck yeah, that's
Yeah.
outstanding.
Legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Legit.
I mean it's blossomed into crazy things like the Jim Orange Theory.
Yeah.
So that one was legit. Like they showed me leaving the house, like but only upper body. Like I throw over my gym bag and I walk out the door, and there was other people in the commercial. It shows them doing shit, and then the next thing it cuts into when you're in the class, right? It shows some people, then it shows me. I'm running on the treadmill, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'd be running fast as fuck, dude. Like,
They're like, pick up the pace.
Cut. We got to do it again.
That's 30,000 legs. Pick up the pace.
30 fucking cuts in. You're like, can I fucking go?
that was at a 6 speed. You control the speed.
Yeah.
6 is high, especially for fucking prosthetic legs. I'm just going. And they take so many cuts. Like cut.
Oh,
cut.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Those are legit gigs, dude.
Yeah,
like
it's-
USAA, Orange Theory. Fuck.
Yeah, it's been.
That's
incredible.
not like Bob's used car dealership.
Yeah, or the
you know?
general.
Have you
Yeah. Hey man, Shaq's doing the general, dude.
have you had to do any where you got to eat in the scene?
No.
That's just the worst.
What? Do you have a story where you had to eat in the scene?
Yeah, it was for Franklin Templeton Funds commercial, and the whole scene was like a dinner table, like family around a dinner table, and the food's cold as fuck because you can't have steam coming out of it. So it was like cold ass like spaghetti and like cold ass garlic bread. And so every single time like I would come in and I would have to like take a bite, and then you have to keep on doing that every single time. So anytime you see somebody like eating some shit in like a scene, they're either eating it and swallowing or just spitting it out every single time. But it's fucking disgusting.
That is gross.
It's like when we had Carmen on and she ruined porn for us. You just ruined eating commercials.
Well, I have a question about if people know you're a vet and then they see, do they just assume it was something from deployment?
Always.
Every time, right?
That's got to be what.
Or probably just even people out in the street too.
Oh, yeah.
They just assume.
I get people like that legit come up to me and they'll tell me exactly what happened. IUD, Afghanistan?
Yeah. You're like, nope, snowblower, bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, you ever seen Fargo?
Yeah.
You know, and then sometimes you're just not in the mood, right? Just one of those days like,
yeah.
IUD, Afghanistan? I'm like, yep. And I just keep
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah.
You got it.
You should just go into like full PTSD mode. That'd be
Yeah.
like, oh no.
I want to take this outside.
Yeah, that makes sense. Though I imagine most people would assume.
Oh, yeah, usually always.
Mhm.
And, you know, the most always veteran. And that's when it's like, if I really feel like getting into it, I'm like, well, yeah. But, you know, technically.
Yes.
Yeah.
You really got to get into it, though, if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
no, yes, and then no.
Yeah. Oh, what service? I'm like, hold on. You know, and then I get in the store like zipline. Like, zipline? I did one in Hawaii. You know? It's like,
Yeah.
Do you ever just get tired of people asking when you're out and about?
No, never.
No? Really?
No. Because I like connecting with people. And then,
Yeah, sure.
you know, you get into these stories and I run into these people, you know, sometimes, you know, a month, 2 months later, and they're like, you know, I just remember you and that story. And, you know, I was worried about parking a car the other day and I thought about you and I was like, fuck it. You know, just stories like that.
I mean, it's
parallel
true.
that shit.
Like, it's shitty that I guess they need to be reminded of it in such a fashion, but that's true.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, right? And, I mean, some of them end up in dates, right? You're like, hey, you never know.
You never know.
What's the expression? I cried because I had no shoes until I saw a man who had no feet.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sounds like an IG post though.
No,
It sounds
no,
like
it was something my dad told me when I was a kid.
It definitely
I think it was
seems like
Confucius or some
Yeah.
shit.
live, laugh, love.
Oh yeah. We
Was-
should hashtag that and see how many people have posted that on Instagram.
Was there ever a time going through all of this where you legit were like down and out and like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore.
No, and I get asked that a lot. And that's beyond me, really. I can't explain.
You don't strike me as the type who would say that, but I was wondering.
Yeah,
if-
and I really don't. It's interesting. I mean, maybe that's just part of my personality.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to be that kind of guy, that optimistic guy. But I never, and you know, like I said, for me, it was just came to the point where I was like, my ego took over, and I was like, I can't believe the things I'm gonna be able to do. I wasn't doing it yet. I'm like, but just watch, right? I'm gonna be able to do crazy things now. Like, and I thought about,
Mhm.
you know, the movie stuff and the acting. I'm like, you know, call it the law of attraction because everything's happening that I thought about. You know, what if I
It's fucking manifestation at its
exactly,
finest.
exactly. That's a perfect word for it. I'm like, oh, if I start snowboarding again, I get real good, and boom, that happens, right? And it's like, well, you know, power of the mind. That's all I
Yeah.
can say, right?
No, it's true.
And especially with the type of brain injury that I had,
Yeah.
I remember just thinking like, and I got into meditation, especially in the hospital. I was in a loud hospital, right? I had to be down in the ICU a lot, so I start meditating. I'm like, I'm just gonna focus on healing my brain right here, right? That's what I mean. I really believe that I was doing some gnarly shit, like just sitting there zenned out, like I'm healing my brain, right? It sounds pseudoscience crazy, whatever, but I totally believe in it.
It sounds really like woo-woo, as some people say, but there's a lot of legitimacy to that.
There's
been a lot of studies that have shown even just something as basic as meditation
Yeah,
really does have the capability and the capacity to fucking like rewire and heal
exactly.
your brain.
And other things are balancing out your neurotransmitters,
Yeah,
right? Serotonin
exactly.
goes up, right? You know, use more dopamine hits and stuff like
I
that.
need that.
Yeah.
I don't even think my brain produces it. Is that what produces serotonin? Is it your brain?
Ecstasy will help you with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, should we call it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you.
I
Thank you for
can't
coming
even
on.
fathom how many questions we're going to get just from people who are watching this
Ton.
on
Yeah,
YouTube.
they can hit me up on Instagram too. So
And it's not your average
Yeah.
Johnson, right?
yeah, not your average Johnson. Just
That's a great fucking handle, dude.
put an underscore after each word,
Yeah.
not underscore your underscore.
I'll put it in the description
Yeah.
down below on the video.
Anything
Yeah.
else we need to promote or talk about?
No.
We did the t-shirts.
T-shirts? No, yeah.
Hats,
Always
too.
going up. Oh, yeah, hats.
Hats, too.
Support your local strippers.
Yeah.
I got one of the new hats on
Mhm.
myself. Shop.tastelessgentlemen.com.
Yep.
Follow KJ everywhere.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
for sure.
We're going to do our traditional E-drop It's stupid. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Or you can join in.
Or you can join in. So,
Real easy.
6, come here.
and a 1.
And a 2.
And a 3.
And a...
Eee!